What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, don't worry, I'll still be coughing. Don't you worry, your little heads. Thank you, Meal patrons, Kimberly, Karen. Go ahead,
It's part
Kyle.
of our brand.
Yeah, I'm going to the doctor on Thursday. Hopefully
Thank
they give me
God.
true. I've already been to the doctor. They gave me stuff didn't work. I'm going again.
That's the worst.
We're here for the podcast. Thank you, Meal patrons. Go get some merch. I don't know where the hoodie is, but that's okay. We're going to give a hoodie away to a fan, a Movie Meals Popcorn logo hoodie. Very comfortable, very awesome. I got the Die Hard is a Christmas movie shirt on, part of the brand here. Go get some of that stuff. Help like, subscribe, and share the podcast and just anything on the channel around. We want to pass that 2,000. When we pass that 2,000, we're going to pick someone who's been commenting on a lot of videos, and we're going to give them a free hoodie because that's what we want to do. We want to do something for the people. Help us get to that 2,000. But so Kyle and I, last videos we made were our review or our most anticipated and our top 10 movies of 2023. And so Kyle was like, I kind of went through my old lists. I still have them. And he was talking about it. We were talking about it in a chat with a bunch of friends about movies and stuff. And I texted Kyle and I was like, that's a great idea for the podcast. I think we make that the whole episode. Don't need to talk about news. Let's just go through our old lists and see what has changed. And off air, before we started filming, we were looking at the depths of the channel. And I, in my head, had always thought we started doing this together in 2013, but you got consistent in 2014. And in reality, the first video Kyle appears in is in 2015. And then he shows up in one more video in 2015, and then we get consistent in 2016. So I'm even more curious to see our reviews together, since our first ever video was our top films of 2014, where we were really new into just movies in general. I mean, our tastes have changed. The way we view cinema has changed. I mean, at that point, I had already gone through quite a bit of film school. So since that, when we started, so I understand it a lot better. So this will be interesting. We're going to go all the way back to, apparently we didn't make a 2013 video, but we made a list. So
we posted it on Facebook, baby.
Did we actually?
Yeah, we did. I had to, because I knew we made a list, but I knew it wasn't going to be on YouTube. So I was like, well, I don't think we would have done it on like Instagram or anything. I didn't have Twitter. So I was like, it had to have been on
Facebook was more popular then too. Facebook hadn't kind of gone on its downward spiral. Instagram was newer.
Yeah.
The very first video ever on the channel was me reviewing Prisoners, which is an 10 out of 10 all-time favorite movie for me, on October 1st in 2013. Wow, that is insane. I made 3 videos back to back to back, and then we didn't really touch it again for a while after that. So we're going to go descending order here. We're going to start with our 2022 list. Just because I think that'll be quick. So I'll go first, and I'll just kind of rattle them off fast. My number 1 was Everything Everywhere All at Once, then The Batman, Pinocchio, Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, Knives Out, Glass Onion, Men, After Sun, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, The Fablemans. I'm more than 10. I have 16 written down here, so I'm going to go through all 16. I have The Fablemans, Prey, RRR, She Said, and The Banshees of Inisherin, and Nope. Looking back at this now, I think it's pretty accurate a year later. I would probably kick Cha-Cha Real Smooth off. That doesn't stick with me as much. It's still a really great movie. Not off the list entirely, but I'd probably get it out of the top 10. It's at 9, and I'd move Marcel the Shell with Shoes On up. I actually think I would also move up either RRR over Prey, and I think I might even move it up above The Fablemans. I would also move up The Banshees of Inisherin over She Said, even though I really like She Said, but I would rearrange that a little bit. I probably would move Nope up. I'd probably move Prey to that 16th spot. But I love that I had Men on there. I love the movie. It's an excellent, excellent movie, but I forgot kind of that I had it on there. So yeah, I dig this list. What were your top 10? My list is pretty good.
Yeah, I'll start at number 1 too. Mine is same as yours, Everything Everywhere All at Once, followed by The Batman. Number 3 is Nope. Number 4 is Top Gun Maverick. Number 5 is The Woman King. Number 6 is The Menu. Number 7 is The Northman. Number 8 is After Sun. Number 9 is RRR. And number 10 is The Fablemans. And it looks like for my honorable mentions, I also included Emily the Criminal, Glass Onion, Banshees of Inisherin, She Said, and Breaking.
You got to watch
And
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. You got to add that to your watch list and check that out.
Yeah, that still isn't one that I haven't got to. But right now there aren't like major shifts because we're only a year away from this list, which isn't too surprising, I suppose. I guess for me, I probably would bump the Menu lower on the list. So from its number 6 spot, I would probably move it to like maybe the 9 or 10 range because I think movies like After Sun, Fablements, and The Northman
I think they're better.
Yeah, I would say that they're better after, like over a year of watching these. Although I still do like the Menu, but I think those other three are going to stick in my head more. And then I probably would find a way to include Banshees of Inisherin. That movie has stuck around with me much more than I was really anticipating at the time of watching it. And then I'm trying to remember because I just watched this movie, The Worst Person in the World. Was that a 2022 movie, Al? Do you remember off the top of your head?
I believe it was a 20. I think it. No, I don't remember. I'll look it up.
That's okay.
2021.
Oh, it is 2021. Okay, so I'll wait until I talk about that movie then. But
that's a good movie.
Yes, yeah. It's growing on me a lot more since I just watched it like a week ago or so, but I had the years mixed up.
There's no salt burn.
Not major shifts from this list, I would say, but 2022, when coming back from like the pandemic and getting more releases, like these lists are pretty solid so far, I would say.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. All right, let's move to 2021. Let's see if I can find it quickly. I got all these documents open. I'm trying not to spoil it. Oh yeah, I only have a top 10 on this one. I probably said honorable mentions in the video, but I didn't write them down on the list. You go first this time.
Well, funny enough, I'm trying to look for my list also. There's a lot of tabs open. Apologies.
Then I'll go first while you're looking.
Yeah. Okay.
My number 1 of 2021 was Dune. I stand by that wholeheartedly. That's not moving. My number 2 was Tick, Tick, Boom. Then I had Spider-Man No Way Home, In the Heights, Malignant, Shang-Chi, The Green Knight, Stillwater, A Quiet Place Part 2, Godzilla vs. Kong. Gosh, The Monarch show is so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh. And it's so good.
All I'm hearing right now.
It's so good in the Godzilla -1 more avenue of character study than it is kind of the craziness of monsters. I'm trying to look. Because I wrote down all the other movies that came out that year that I saw. And this was, I know last year in 2020, obviously, because the pandemic was like, there was less movies in general. Felt like we were seeing less. I think I averaged somewhere between 60 and 75, 80 movies a year. And those 2 years I didn't do it. Looking at my list, I'm not sure there's anything. Maybe I move in my girl Halsey's I Can't Have Love, I Want Power music video on that top little movie on that. That was a banger.
I remember that was, I think that was an honorable mention, right? Yeah.
Probably was. I stand by this list. Maybe King Richard I move in because I think that movie's really good, but I stick by Dune. I stick by Tick, Tick, Boom. Malignant has stuck with me in a really great way, and so is The Green Knight. If anything, I probably would kick The Green Knight from 7 to maybe 3 over Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'd shift everything else underneath down. I like having Shang-Chi in there, the last kind of remnant of Marvel, and I'm assuming Marvel will grow on these lists as the years go on. But yeah, I stand by this. 2021 was a weird year. I stand by it.
Was Spider-Man also on your list?
Yeah, it was my number 3, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, okay. Would you keep Spider-Man there after?
I just said that. I would take The Green Knight, who's at 7. I would move it to 3, which is where Spider-Man is, and I would push everything else down. So Spider-Man would go to 4, In the Heights would go to 5, Malignant 6. I might switch Malignant and In the Heights just because as much as I love In the Heights, I think about Malignant all the time. But this was a down year. It makes sense that 2022 and then ending up 2023 ended up being the year for movies.
Yeah.
I do pushed, but
when I was looking back at our 2021 video, we very clearly were stating how 2021, while we were coming back, it wasn't like coming back with style, that's for sure. It was still the year where we're like, there's bumps in this road, but
I probably would toss Mitchell's versus the Machines in there. I think that was on your list. I'd probably toss that in the top 10. I might kick out maybe Godzilla vs. I do love Godzilla, but that would be a contender, I think, for sure. I've watched it a couple more times, just with the kids that teaching and stuff. So,
okay.
It really does hold up. But
Mm-hmm.
what was your list?
Number 1 is Pig. Number 2 is Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Oh,
Number 3 is Tick
yeah.
Tick Boom. Number 4 is In the Heights. Number 5 is West Side Story. Number 6 is Spencer. Number 7, I have The Green Knight. Number 8 is Nobody. Number 9 is Dune, and number 10 is Coda.
Oh,
And then for some honorable mentions, I'll get to that one. In honorable mentions, I have The Suicide Squad, Passing, Mass, A Quiet Place Part 2, and Last Night in Soho.
Coda, I think I watched, and Pig, I think I watched after we made the list. Looking back at it now, I would have put Coda in probably that top 3 area, along with The Green Knight. I probably would have had to kick a couple movies off, and I probably would have put Pig in there as well. Looking back, Last Night in Soho was good too. Yeah, I hate the love you're giving. Are you kidding me? You know how freaking good Dune is for number 9. Stop.
So I'll start with that. After having time sitting on it, I probably and seeing this list again now, I probably would move Dune at least into like the 4 or 5 range, just because Pig, Mitchell's versus Machines, and Tick Tick Boom are excellent movies in my opinion.
Tick Tick Boom.
And then that would probably mean I would bump down like the musicals I listed, like up a spot along with Spencer and The Green Knight. And then Nobody, I probably would actually kick out of this top 10 in general. It's fun, but it's not, and especially over Dune. I will admit, like, that one was a miss on my part. I'll at least admit that Nobody over Dune was a mistake for sure.
It is a mistake. Are you kidding me? Dune's a banger.
Dune's excellent. Yeah, absolutely. But along the way after this list, I know I was able to watch movies like Drive My Car and, as I said previously, The Worst Person in the World. So
Drive My Car.
They're both so good, and I think probably Nobody and Coda would be bumping out of those spots to put those movies in. And then I'm looking at my honorable mentions. I love Mass. Mass is so damn underrated, but it's so amazing of a movie.
Mass?
Yeah. It was a very small release. I doubt anyone was able to get around and see it.
I don't even remember talking about that. That was one of those movies Kyle got to see, and then he didn't tell anybody that he saw it, so that way no one could go and see it, so he could sneak it onto the list.
What?
Let me see right through you and your shenanigans, sir.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't sound like me at
Coda,
all.
Worst Person in the World, I remember really liking, but I don't really remember much about the movie after I watched it, because I probably kind of caught up with a bunch of movies right away, but that would have been a contender for me. Coda is very good. Coda should have been on my list. That's an issue for me. I should have put it in there.
Looking back on it, do you think its Best Picture win was warranted? Because I remember a lot of conversations around like it warranting being a winner, let alone being a nominee.
I think in this year, it's very much a deserving win. I think if you put it up against 2023, it probably wouldn't have gotten nominated, but it's still a very great movie. It's heartbreaking at times. That movie is excellent. So I think people that I feel like the frustration of this movie is not as good as, like, it shouldn't have won the Best Picture. It's not as good as other movies. Unless they're arguing, honestly, Dune, I don't think anything else really competes for Best Movie of that year. But I think most movies of this year are lacking. And I think it's more frustration about the state of cinema in 2021 from the fallout of 2020 than it is a statement on Coda itself. Coda is excellent. It is an excellent movie.
Yeah, so, it definitely like spoke to what types of feelings we really needed from cinema as like an avenue to like what we want to feel emotionally at a time in 2020 and 2021 where it was pretty grim. Like, we weren't very happy people in those years, that's for sure. So like Coda being like an uplifting story, even one where you could say like, I don't know, it's cliche to a degree, but
all movies are cliche to a degree.
But I still understand why the movie won at that time. Is it the best movie? I don't know, but at the very least, it is still a very great movie, and it just makes sense for the time we were in.
All right, let's move on to 2020 because we got a lot to talk about.
I have my list up and ready if you want me to go first.
Go for it. Go ahead. I got mine too. But wait a dang minute.
What?
Oh, for some reason I have 2021 and 2020 on the same document. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So at number 1 in 2020, I had Tenet. At number 2, I have Palm Springs.
Wow.
Number 3, I have The Way Back. Number 4 is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Number 5 is The Five Bloods. Number 6 is The Invisible Man. Number 7 is The Trial of the Chicago 7. Number 8 is Run. Number 9 is Wonder Woman 1984. And number 10 is Minari. Is that right?
Yeah, 2020 was weird. What was your number 1?
My number 1 was Tenet.
That's
Did I have
wild.
Wonder Woman over Minari?
That is a really interesting list, Kyle. That is a very interesting list because when you look at the narrative around Tenet since Oppenheimer, it's massively different. I mean, it was just in the news about, the Peloton instructor roasting Tenet, and I like Tenet, but wow, I had Palm Springs.
Can I quickly explain about Tenet?
Go ahead.
I do remember this. I know that even for myself, when I saw Tenet, I wouldn't call it like Nolan's best movie, but I think in 2020, when we were shut in, unavailable to like, experiencing movies the way we were able to, like that was one of the few that was lucky enough to get out and go to theaters. So when I saw it, at least it gave me like,
theaters too.
The experience of a theatrical release that I was craving for, and like, the many shutdowns that we were experiencing at that time. So I'll stick by it just for that reason. Is it like the best movie? Obviously, I wouldn't say that, but I do think it is very good for Nolan, even though it has its criticisms. But it just reflected on like what I was going through at that time when it comes to movies.
Yeah. I have Tenet on my list, but not at number 1. I have number 1 Palm Springs, then I have Soul, then I have The Trial of the Chicago 7, The Five Bloods, The Invisible Man, Tenet, Ma Rainey's Big. I apologize. That was just a slip of the tongue, man.
Slip of the tongue.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Happiest Season, The Old Guard, The Social Dilemma. And I'm going to be straight with you. I don't remember the last 4 movies. I don't even remember Ma Rainey's. I can't even, I got to look it up. I don't even, I'm sure once I see it, I'll remember.
It was Chadwick's movie. Yeah.
Oh, yes. No, this movie was excellent.
At least you don't have Wonder Woman on your list.
Because Wonder Woman...
it was COVID. It was a bad time.
Wonder Woman 1984. There are way better movies than that. Are you kidding me? You didn't have Soul on your list. Soul's an excellent Pixar movie.
I'm wondering if I saw Soul... I'm wondering if I saw Soul after we made the list. Because I really was not watching many movies. Like, 1, there wasn't that many releases. And 2, there was not that many... that were genuinely like sticking around with me. Like I do have like 3 movies on my list now that changed that, Soul including one of them, like if I were to revise it, but it just really spoke to like the low point I was in.
Yeah. I saw Minari, I believe, after this list, or that would have been probably my number 1. Minari is excellent. The Social Dilemma was that documentary that everybody talked about how social media algorithms work. And that I like having that. The Old Guard, I remember, was a really fun action movie on Netflix, but I probably would kick that off. Happiest Season, I kind of like. That was a fun little holiday movie.
Yeah, it's cute.
Tenet, Invisible Man's excellent. I probably would move Invisible Man honestly above The Five Bloods. I like The Five Bloods a lot, but I think The Invisible Man's going to stand the test of time as a really, really good horror movie.
Yeah. I agree with you there. Although I remember in the video, as I was looking through it, I said The Invisible Man evokes or stays true to the classic, to which I was like, Kyle, that's not true at all. Like, it's the name and like the Invisible Man premise, but they're not the same movie. Like so I don't know what I was talking about there, but aside from that, Invisible Man was very good. Yeah.
The Way Back was a really good movie too that year.
So good.
that was the movie with Ben Affleck. That's really good. Who was the director of that? Let's see. Well, yeah, Gavin O'Connor, who made Warrior.
The Accountant.
And The Accountant. That was an underrated movie that I probably would have had contend a little bit stronger that year. But I remember because I have them underneath that list, top 10 top things to get me through quarantine. We must have talked about.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And there's just so much TV on there that was just like TV was just that year. But let's get out of this stinking year. Let's get to a fun year.
Can I mention one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to give love to Sound of Metal. I saw it after 2020
that would have been a
for
bigger
sure.
Contender.
That was my number one. That easily would have been my number one movie. Anyway.
That would have been a contender. Yeah, that would have probably been my top 3.
Okay, absolutely. I just needed to speak that. Everyone go watch that movie. It's fantastic.
It's really good. All right, let's see. Oh gosh, when we made this list, I had some really freaking good movies. I wrote movies left to see in 2019, and
Let's hear them.
Wow. Well, I'll do my main list first.
Oh, okay.
My top 10 of 2019 was Peanut Butter Falcon. Excellent choice. I'm definitely okay. I probably would move it. I will move it, but I love that movie. Oh my God. Oh my God. This has to be a joke. Did I really I have Rise of Skywalker 10 at the top 10.
You did. Yep.
What was my justification? I take it all back. I was doing anything to not kill myself, okay? I take it all back.
I remember this. Yes. It that was how we started that top 10. And I think you were in your denial phase. I think you're in your depression phase when we made the review. I would say that was like your denial phase where you're like, I've seen it 2 times and I think it might be good in there somewhere. And I'm like,
I don't think I ever felt that way. Did you watch this video?
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember that.
I said I saw it again and I liked it more.
I don't know if you said that you liked it more, but you definitely saw it at least twice. But you did sound like you were in your denial phase of accepting that Rise of Skywalker wasn't good. Which I hope I'm not sounding like a jerk about, but
I saw Rise of Skywalker 4 times in the theater.
Oh,
I went. Well, I remember my justification for it. I went the first time, obviously with us, and my review, if you ever want to laugh, go watch me just absolutely hate everything about the world. I take that back wholeheartedly. Whatever my justification was idiotic, stupid, and trying to just not give up on a franchise of the new movies that I was really liking. But that's an absolute travesty, that especially the fact that I don't have Parasite on this list because I hadn't seen it yet. That's in the list of movies I hadn't seen, and Parasite is by far the best movie of that year. It's not even close.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah. Well, there's actually one movie that I would mention that could be a competitor. Should I say it now or wait?
Yeah.
Saying it now? No. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That came out in 2019.
Oh, I thought that was 2017 for some weird reason.
No, I'm pretty sure that was 19. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Kyle and I watched that as part of our movie club a couple years ago. Somebody picked it, and if I had seen that movie, I don't even know if I would have appreciated it though in 2019. Just the way my tastes have changed since then. Maybe I wouldn't have liked it in the same way. But let me get through my list super fast, and I'll talk about Skywalker.
Let's do it.
I have Peanut Butter Falcon, Booksmart, Avengers Endgame, Jojo Rabbit, Midsummer, Knives Out, Ford v Ferrari, Little Women, Marriage Story, and for some oddball reason, The Poop of Skywalker. So I went and saw Rise of Skywalker 4 times. I went twice within that first weekend because I think that second time my thought process was, did I miss something? I need to go back. Did I miss something? Because I don't know. Or
good?
maybe it was, no, I don't think that's actually right. I think I went with Alex Geisler. I think I went with him. I don't think he could come with us that night, and I told him I would go again with him, so he didn't go by himself. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because I did that with him with Endgame too. So I think I did that. But then I saw it again with my dad, because my dad was like, I want to see it. And so I went home for the holidays and was like, yeah, I'll go see it again. And then COVID hit. and it was starting to hit, and people weren't really sure what was going to happen. And I remember sitting, I had nothing to do. I hadn't been fully, the boys couldn't play Warzone at the time, and I was like, had nothing to do. It was like 4:00, and everybody was busy that night. My parents were busy. Like my family in town was busy. Everybody was busy. I had nothing to do. And I remember I just looked up to see if there was a movie to go to. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see Star Wars again, just because I want to see Star Wars. Just even though I know it's so shitty. I just want to go one more time in the theater. And I remember telling my parents that, like, I'm going to go see this movie, even though I don't like it, because I just kind of want to, like, I just want to hear the music, and I just want to feel Star Wars in that environment one more time, because they're not going to make saga movies like that anymore. So I wanted to, and I like episode 7 and 8 quite a bit. So I wanted to feel that. Yeah, my list of hadn't seen yet at the time was 1917, Dark Waters, Queen and Slim, Charlie's Angels, Black Christmas, Honey Boy, Parasite, and Just Mercy. I saw most of those. I did not see Black Christmas or Charlie's Angels, but Honey Boy would have been a contender. Honey Boy's excellent. 1917 absolutely would have been a contender, and Parasite would have been my number one. I would have knocked Rise of Skywalker so far off that list. I probably would knock Booksmart off too now. Even just off the list entirely, I wouldn't move it. I think I'd kick it off. That was high, even for Honey Boy. High.
Yeah.
Well, I had also missed a ton of movies. Endgame has gotten a bad rap since those movies ended, and I think that's idiotic. Endgame is awesome. It always has been and always will be. And the people that make these dumb arguments of Infinity Wars, we're not comparing them. They're two separate movies. That's the point of splitting them with different names. They weren't part 1s and part 2s. They were split into two different Avengers movies because they were so different. And you can compare them all you want, but it's like, I think Infinity War is better, but Endgame is still a banger. But I would definitely move Parasite and Honey Boy in 1917 into that competition there. Everything else I really like. Knives Out was incredible. Midsommar absolutely belongs on that list. Marriage Story I liked, but probably would have knocked off. I like Little Women more than Marriage Story at the, looking back. But Peanut Butter Falcon's also a banger. That movie's so good.
Did you put Ford? I probably missed this, so I apologize. Did you put
Ford v Ferrari? I had it 7. Awesome movie.
Okay.
Awesome movie.
I
always stop when I always stop on TikTok. Sometimes they just play movies like that. Like people just put up 15 clips of those movies, and they'll be like 5 minutes long. I always stop when I see a Ford v Ferrari one. I always stop when I see Sully for some weird reason. I just want to see Tom Hanks on that plane. And then The Martian all the time. I see those all the time. But what was your list? I'm rambling. We got a lot of lists to go through.
Yes, that's a good point. Number 1 is Avengers Endgame. Number 2 is Jojo Rabbit. Number 3 is The Lighthouse. Number 4 is Marriage Story. Number 5 is Rocket Man. Number 6 is Knives Out. Number 7 is The Farewell. Number 8 is Fighting with My Family. Number 9 is The Peanut Butter Falcon. And number 10 is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So
yeah, this is my big mess up year. That's a lot of talent right there. 2019 was solid. That's a lot of. I didn't go through. Oh yeah, I just kind of went up and saw some movies. Yeah, The Farewell right there. Little Women. Let's see. Oh, Cats, absolutely. Ugh.
I think I
Beautiful
have
Day in the Neighborhood. Oh my gosh, yeah. I can't believe.
I think I have strong choices.
Got that year right.
Interesting. Okay, I think I have strong choices with the likes of like.
Oh, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out that year.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I don't mind this list, but when I was able to see movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Uncut Gems,
oh man.
Little Women. Okay, that one's the big travesty for me. That one, I know I saw this before making the list, Little Women, but I should have had that in my top. That would have been like a top 5.
I remember you wouldn't stop talking about how the older versions of Little Women couldn't compete. And that this new version was excellent in all phases. It was awesome. And we would talk constantly. Kyle would be like, I liked it, but I just love the one from 1934 so much more that I just can't justify it being there. And it's like, Kyle, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Kyle owned this year. He did a lot better. I struggled.
Thank you.
Godzilla King of the Monsters is right there for the number 1 spot. And I didn't even put it. This is absurd by me. Us is a movie that I need to give a fair rewatch to. because I liked it but didn't love it the way everybody else did. And over time, Doctor Sleep I really liked. Wow, yeah. Lighthouse I can't believe was not a contender. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Frozen 2 is excellent.
I'm glad you're.
Bombshell
2019 wasn't a bad year. I know it's all the talk about is
No, it
like
was a
how
good year.
crazy the box office was with like $10 billion movies or whatever, but there were like lots of terrific gems in this one for sure.
It helps in a year in 2023 when there are no big superhero movies, and in a year of 2020 or 2019 when Endgame and Rise of Skywalker, you're ending two massive franchises in a sense, come to a conclusion. You're gonna have a harder time at the just kind of remembering some of those kind of hidden gems, like the uncut gems.
I suppose. Yeah.
I can't believe The Farewell is so good. Oh my gosh.
It's so good. I probably would move. I don't know. I mean, if I could include, on this, I'm glad you're complimenting my list, but like, I don't have Parasite on this list. I would add Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I think Parasite came out a while later. I just don't think we got a wide chance release, to see it. Yeah, and
we made the list.
Let me.
But I think those three would have been in my top three, and I would have bumped Endgame to like fourth or fifth.
I'm not sure it. Oh yeah, and we in 2019, because before then we were waiting to see all these movies. We were making our end of the year videos at like the end of January when no one cared. So we switched it to be in the on New Year's Eve. Because we wanted to end the year that way. So that makes a lot more sense to me. But man, I would go back and change that list. Oh my gosh.
Even for me, I would like change some things around. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into 2018. We got to move this along here.
Let's do it.
2018. That can't be right.
This was a rough year for me. I'll say it right now. Want me to go first?
I think you're going to be doing better than me, pal.
We'll see.
I didn't even write out all the movies that came out this year. I just wrote out the ones that I think would have been contenders for my list at the time. But these are some. Oh,
2018.
How is that even there? How's that even there? I have Aquaman in the top 5.
What?
That can't be right.
I remember that because I was.
I remember not liking Aquaman.
That can't be right. There's no way.
This is my most anticipated list. Oh, thank God! I was about to have a heart attack.
Because I skimmed through that video.
You talk about your list. I'll go find mine.
Well, I was gonna say to start it off, like I was skimming through this video, and there is one instance that sums up this year so well, 2018, where I was making some joke of like, hey, like, this year had some good ones in it. And Alex was just like, no, it wasn't that good. So I was like, now looking back on this, I'm like,
I found it.
It's a bit weaker. It's a bit weaker of a year.
I found it. I found the list. I have 20 movies. Oh my gosh.
20 movies. Wow. Okay. So I'll start off with mine in 2018. Number 1 is Into the Spider-Verse. No. It was Spider-Verse.
I have Into the Spider-Verse at 5.
Oh, yeah, man, that surprised me.
That to number 1. Hey, but it's not as egregious as Dune at 9. Okay, it's in the top 5. That's pretty competitive.
For how much you rave about Spider-Verse, though.
Yeah, you go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's all good. Number 2 is Infinity War. Number 3 is Searching. Number 4 is A Quiet Place. Number 5 is Black Panther. Number 6 is The Hate U Give. Number 7 is A Star is Born. Number 8 is Upgrade. Number 9 is Mission Impossible Fallout. And number 10 is Hereditary.
Wow, that's so low for Hereditary.
This list is bad.
I have Infinity War. I have Private Life, and I don't remember that. I gotta look it up.
I have no idea what that would have been.
Private Life 2018. Oh, this movie was really good. Oh, this is the movie with Catherine Hahn and Paul Giamatti. Where they're this movie's good. It's an author of undergoing multiple fertility therapies to get pregnant, putting her relationship with her husband on edge. Yeah. It's very good. That is a very underrated gem. It's a Netflix movie too, which is wild. That it just gets buried.
But that's high.
But I have that at 2. I have 8th Grade at 3, and I think 8th Grade is gonna go down for a long time with Edge at 17. I I have Creed 2 at 4, and then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Hereditary, Black Panther, Searching, Crazy Rich Asians, and then Bumblebee. And then to round out those 10 more real fast, I have Black Klansman, Annihilation, the first Halloween like new iteration, The Incredibles 2, Green Book, Roma, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, Upgrade, Game Night. I would get Creed 2 off the list entirely. Private Life, I probably would. I would probably just move Creed 2 to the honorable mentions. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as good as Annihilation or The Incredibles 2. I like having Crazy Rich Asians. I probably would move it above Searching. I would move Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse probably to number 1. But Infinity War is still an absolute banger. So those would be 1A, 1B for me. Private Life, I'll keep there, but I probably would need a fresh rewatch on that. That's a very good movie. All my honorable mentions outside of Annihilation, I feel like are pretty solid. I think this is a pretty solid list for the most part. A couple, like having Spider-Man that low is a little bit much because Spider-Man, I think about that movie all the time. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. So that should have been higher. That's the only oversight. Everything else, the first Black Panther I probably would have put up. Hereditary should be higher than 6 too. Hereditary is awesome. But thoughts?
Since you mentioned Hereditary, I probably would bump it down to like, I don't know, the fourth, fifth, somewhere in that category. And then Searching and The Hate U Give, I liked them at the time, but I probably would remove these off the list.
I think I might even move Searching off.
I mean, a movie like Hereditary, I think, is sticking with me longer. 8th Grade, which probably was an honorable mention since it wasn't on my list, I would move that into this year's top 10 as well. And then there was Damien Chazelle's First Man, which I'm pretty sure I watched it before we made this list, but that movie always comes back to me. Like, I think that's a very underrated movie of his.
First Man's good, except for that one scene where Claire Foy walks across the street and he has the shakiest cam you've ever seen in your life. We're moving. It's the dumbest. It's the only bad. I remember being like, this movie's so good. Why is this shot so horrific? Oh my gosh. It's not even, it's one thing to shake. We're moving everywhere. And all she did was walk across the street.
That was a bad choice.
But First Man was good.
I'm happy that I showed some love for Upgrade, though. Like, that was an underrated action
Upgrade
movie
I would move up from that 19 spot, probably to the higher ranking of the honorable mentions. That's a good movie. But all right, let's move. We got it. We only got 20 minutes left, and we still got
about this
a lot of years. There's some good movies in this year, though. I mean, Hereditary, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Avengers, 8th Grade. There's some really good gems here. What are we on? 17?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have two
I don't know. This one might be
20?
competitive. This one might be competitive 17. For my worst.
Ooh, I got some good movies on here.
Let's go with you then. Let's start with you.
I have number 1, The Last Jedi. I stand by that without even needing to look at anything else because it's a banger. And I loved it. I still love it. Oh wow, there are a few movies I hadn't seen Shape of Water yet when we made that list. That would have been a contender. Shape of Water's great.
Me too.
I still need to see I had The Post, Disaster Artist, Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, Molly's Game, and Mudbound. I don't think I ended up ever seeing Mudbound, but I know I saw the others. The only one that I think is actually competitive for a top 10 spot of that would be Shape of Water. But I have Rise of Skywalker, or Rise of Skywalker, oh God, The Last Jedi. I have Wind River, Logan, Blade Runner 2049, 3 Billboards, It, The Darkest Hour, I, Tonya, Get Out, War for the Planet of the Apes, Your Name, Lady Bird, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor. That must have been Ragnarok, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And 20. Yeah, okay, I just wrote Thor. Split, Dunkirk, Coco, and Baby Driver. Dang, that bottom half is enough to be a good list on its own. What a good year.
Yeah, wow. Yours was better than mine.
What's yours?
So let me start off by knowing for a fact that Get Out was an honorable mention, and that is a goddamn mistake. That is a goddamn mistake. This is a bad list.
I think it's a mistake having it at 9. Was one of my literally my first thought as I was going down is I was like, I really like all these placements, and
Get
The
Out's
Darkest
top
Hour
3
I
on
like,
this
but
list.
Get Out should probably have jumped up
that should have been top 3
to been higher for me. Yeah, I don't know if I would put it at top 3. It's a top 5er. I don't know if I put it at 3. Wind River's good. Logan is good. Blade Runner is good. I probably would put it at 5 and move 3 billboards. But anyway, what's your list?
Okay. Number 1 is Wonder Woman. Number 2 is 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Number 3 is
Great
It.
film.
Number 4 is Baby Driver. I don't know about that.
Average
good,
choice.
But I'll say average. I'll say average choice to put in your top 3.
For Baby Driver?
No, for It.
Or It. It. Yeah, it's probably a little high. I mean, that's
too high.
The first It is going to be. I mean, I think with other movies that made my honorable mentions too, I think it belongs on the list. I just don't know if it's a top. Yeah, I have it at 6. I think that bottom half is a good spot for it. But keep going.
The fact that Get Out is honorable mention over it being top 3, that's wrong. That's just so entirely wrong.
Baby Driver is really good, but I don't know if it's a top 10 of the year.
I probably wouldn't put it as a top 10 now either. But anyway, number 4 was Baby Driver.
To watch, Kevin Spacey.
True. Number 5 is Blade Runner 2049. Number 6 is Logan.
That's too low.
Number 7
is too low.
Yeah, but with movies like Lady Bird and Shape of Water and Get Out, I don't know. Maybe
Blade Runner. I don't even have Lady Bird on my list.
Lady Bird's on mine. I'll get to that.
Yeah, I have it at 12. That should be higher.
See, that's a top 10 for me for sure.
No, I agree. That should be in
number 8 is Wind River. Number 9 is Spider-Man Homecoming, which I think I was too high on that movie. And then number 10 is Lady Bird. So 10 being Lady Bird needs to be higher. Number 9 was Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know. It's good, but
I mean, looking back now, 10. But you got to put you're looking at it from a guy who can't stand the Marvel movies anymore now. So it does make sense. But back then, 2019, they're at the peak. It's the first time we're seeing Spider-Man, this version of him. He does a great job. It's a good movie.
MCU.
I get it. I think it's probably an honorable mention. I have it at 14 out of my 19 here. Dunkirk should have been higher. I would have moved.
Dunkirk should have been on my list.
I would have moved The Darkest Hour off. I probably would have gone. I would have kept Last Jedi, and then I think I would have moved Get Out to 2. Then I think I would have kept. I would have moved Blade Runner to 3. Then I would have done Logan at 4. Then I would have done Wind River at 5. I'd keep It at 6. I think I'd move War for the Planet of the Apes up to 7. I think I'd kick off The Darkest Hour and I, Tonya, even though I love those. And I think I'd go Lady Bird and then Your Name and then Dunkirk if that was 10.
That would be
because those are all bangers. And I have really learned to appreciate Dunkirk. But your Name, oh my, how. I also wrote If Counted. So maybe there was maybe it kind of IMDb said it came out in 2016, but maybe I wrote If Counted. Release. So Your Name is one of the 4 movies that have ever made me cry. So that's a top 10er. But anyway, you continue on yours.
Oh, I mean, thoughts? Get Out is atrocious that it's not on the top 10. I think that Lady Bird and Shape of Water would be in the 1 to 4 range. Too, maybe Blade Runner even would as well.
Blade Runner is incredible.
Yeah. Although I did put it at 5, so okay, that's not bad if I'm thinking of those other movies. That's a fair spot
Shape
for
of
it.
Water. 2019 was good, or 2017 was good.
I would move 3 billboards up higher to the 7 to 10 range.
Sure.
Wonder Woman. Sure. Look, I just you were right about at least when it comes to the time period when it comes to the love for superhero movies. I echo that with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was really special for me to see, but now with years passing, I probably wouldn't put it at number 1. Maybe in the 8 to 10 range as well.
How the heck did I not put Kong Skull Island on my top 10? What am I doing? The MonsterVerse is the only good verse. Okay, it's the only good franchise.
It's the only good cinematic universe.
Bangers.
Clearly.
It really is. I didn't put Power Rangers. Power Rangers was good. It deserved a sequel. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't. An underrated gem that year too was Free Fire. Free Fire's awesome.
That was
Pirates
good.
of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales is god awful. Continue.
Why are you okay?
Needed to point that out there. God,
Pirates catching stray hits.
It's a bad movie. It's the exact same plot as Transformers 5. Also sucks. Detroit might have been a contender too that year. Detroit was really good that year.
I felt like that was underrated too for some reason.
It was. Coco
was
also.
It only us? I don't know.
Coco's devastating. Coco's so good.
Coco, Coco, I would put in top 10 now.
Oh, so Call Me by Your Name came out this year.
Oh, did it? Was it not 2016?
Guys, if you don't know Kyle and I and the backlash on our thoughts on Call Me by Your Name, and I stand by them. I do think it's a movie I need to rewatch. I will get there one day. I might do it when his next movie with Zendaya comes out. Maybe kind of give it a fresh take, but I remember not loving it. I remember thinking it was kind of meh. But except for the last scene. The last scene is excellent. Just not good enough to save the movie.
Yeah, there's definitely some good in that movie, but yeah, it didn't hit me at that time. So I don't know. Like, we're talking about how our tastes change and like what movies will move around. Maybe Calling Me by Your Name would surprise. I don't know.
I think it needs a fresh, fair rewatch. But
yeah, I'd agree with that.
I just remember not like Timothy was good, but I remember there was nothing to hang on to with that character. He just kind of sucked. He was just mean to everybody. Everybody loves him, and he was just mean constantly to everybody. The girl, Armie Hammer, he was mean to everybody.
I remember.
Plus, it's a weird movie to watch now because isn't Timothy supposed to be playing like a kid?
17, yeah, 17. But I think that's
inappropriate. That's kind of gross.
But that could be the point of the movie as well. Like, I wonder if part of it was like him thinking he's falling in love when in actuality, like, he's being manipulated, which is odd because it's like pegging itself as a love story, but then it twists into it.
I'm very clearly remembering that movie was love. It was all about love.
It was, but I'm wondering
and being about yourself.
But I don't know. Like, there has to be something there. Because, like, that ending scene is, like... If I remember that ending scene right, it's supposed to be
17.
him... It's supposed to be him 24. Realizing, like, that he was kind of manipulated. That's how I... Because that was my issue with the... I mean, we don't have to talk about it too much more, I guess.
Maybe
but, like,
I just...
My issue was their chemistry. And maybe that's why I was looking at it wrong. I don't know.
I remember that final scene... But that final scene, spoiler, is the dad saying, I did the same thing back in my day.
Scene, though. That's not the final scene.
But then it's him just crying.
At the fireplace,
yeah. It is. It switches from that to him at the fireplace. To me, that's all the same. That's all the same thing. The dad walks out of the room.
I think, was that in the same... Okay. Then I'm misremembering parts.
The phone call comes before the conversation, I'm pretty sure. Because he has to hear what happens. He has to hear what happens. He then talks to his dad, and he moves to the fireplace, sits and cries. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember he was crying because he couldn't be with him anymore, and he wanted to be with him. But that's a little gross. It's a little gross. Okay.
But
there has to be a line of where the point for that doesn't work. And I think it depends on your movie, but because like Licorice Pizza got a lot of flack for doing that, and it was also the point of the movie. So it's a weird, gross dynamic. And I don't think there's any reason to just not make the character 18. That's young enough. And at least it's slightly better. And they were in Italy, weren't they? And maybe they have just different culture and different way they view it, but I don't know. Anyway, that's for another day. We have 10 minutes left. We got like 5 lists left. So
we can go past the hour.
We got to move off.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
About what? Call Me by Your Name?
No. I just meant keep going with our list, but not rushing through them. No. Like, we can go past an hour.
No, I'm saying we end this Call Me by Your Name combo so we can get to the lists.
Okay. Yep. You're right.
Yeah, we can go over, but we still want to try to make time. What year are we on? 2015?
2016.
2016?
I have mine if you want to
meet. List?
While you're looking, do you want me to go?
Yeah. Wow. I really ranked these weird back then. I don't even know what my 2016 list is.
Number 1 for me is Nocturnal Animals. Number 2 is Arrival. Number 3 is Captain America's Civil
Ooh.
War. Number 4 is Moonlight.
Ooh.
Number 5 is The Nice Guys. Number 6 is Fences. Number 7 is Manchester by the Sea. Number 8 is La La Land. Number 9 is Rogue One.
Oh, it's that.
And number
year.
10 is Moana.
No, did you have Moonlight? Where was Moonlight?
Number 4. But I probably would put it in top 2 with Arrival, at least as a starting point. I'm happy with my Nice Guys pick, though.
Nice Guys was good. I can't. You talk more about your list. That's going to take me a second here.
Yeah, but what I remember the most was absolutely loving Nocturnal Animals. I think it was kind of underrated for its time, but then again, I don't think I would put it at number 1, especially with movies like Moonlight, Arrival, and even Manchester by the Sea and La La Land. Like, I think I would have to bump the Nocturnal Animals way out of like the top 5 to have their places in the 1 to 5 range. I also, while watching this video, saw myself reacting that I didn't have Hell or High Water on this list in real time, and it was hilarious. Like, the sadness, the wave of sadness that just hits me like a truck when I think Alex had it in his list somewhere, and then I immediately was like, oh no, I forgot.
I have it at number 7.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I was like,
because
oh,
I'm
no,
not a dummy.
I don't even think it was an honorable mention. I think I completely forgot, but that's a movie that does stick with me. I really like that movie.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't even have Moonlight. I have 1 through 16, and I don't even have it anywhere on my list. So my guess is I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you must have missed it. Because I saw it in a local theater, but you might not have been there when I did that.
No, I went with you.
Oh, really?
In 2016? Yeah, I didn't.
For Moonlight?
I was still in. Yeah, I was still with you.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Or did it come out in Christmas?
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure we went and saw it at the Ellen.
Yeah, that was the one. Okay, you were there with us.
I didn't write a movies I have yet to see, but I don't see it on my list. So I must have not seen it yet.
But we saw it at the same time. How would that have been on my list?
So well, maybe we didn't then. Maybe I just went to the Ellen on a different day after we filmed.
It could have been multiple days. Yeah, they sometimes do that. Yeah, maybe that was it. Huh.
Knowing us, I actually do think I know who I saw it with, and it wasn't you. But I do remember going to the Ellen.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's starting to. I think we filmed. You went and it played for like a week, and you went to see it, or maybe it came out on its Oscar run, and maybe I was just a couple months behind. And they played it again. But anyway,
they do that sometimes,
I have Arrival, Manchester by the Sea, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, which I stand by. La La Land, Civil War. Did you have Civil War on your list? I can't remember.
Yeah, number 3.
I had it at 4, or I had it at 5, which means I am better than you. No, I'm just kidding. Then I had Hacksaw Ridge. Then I had Hell or High Water, Deadpool. I also had The Nice Guys, and then I had A Monster Calls, and then my honorable mentions were 10 Cloverfield Lane, The Birth of a Nation. I remember seeing that movie with you, and I remember us, and I know there's a lot about the guy who made it and the main actor. I can't remember his name, Nate something, I think. I know the story is about Nat Turner, but I think the actor's name was Nate something. I can't remember. And then I had Don't Breathe, Fences, Nocturnal Animals, and Kubo and the Two Strings. This was a pretty good year. That's a lot of good movies. I stand by Arrival number 1. Arrival was the best movie of that year.
Honestly, Arrival in Manchester as your 1 and 2, that's sick. Like, honestly, I'm jealous. That's good. That's a good
I probably would move Moonlight to number 2, I think, myself.
Yeah.
Because I find myself going back to Arrival more. I probably would move Manchester to 3, Rogue One to 4. I like La La Land there. I like my Hacksaw Ridge pick. That's a really good movie. Hell or High Water is excellent. A Monster Calls, I vaguely remember that movie. I think that's the one where Liam Neeson plays the monster.
Yeah, you were really high.
This was a good movie. This is a good movie. This is a good movie. Yep.
Yeah. I remember it shocking me at the time when you made that.
This is by the guy that made that made Society of the Snow made it.
Yeah,
that we haven't watched yet. That we're both gonna watch. Have you watched it? Did you watch it yet?
I haven't gotten around to it yet. No.
Oh. Yeah, no, that I like this list. I probably would. No, I really liked Nocturnal Animals, but I don't know if it's necessarily better than all these other movies.
No,
honestly, I could
wouldn't
swap
agree
out
with
10
that, no.
Cloverfield Lane for a Monster Calls, but Moonlight needs to be on there. So a Monster Calls is really dropping off, so Moonlight can move up. Everything else, La La Land is really good. The Oscar snub, I think, changed the narrative of La La Land, and now a lot of people don't love it, and it gets a lot of hate. And I think La La Land is still very good. It's very heartbreaking. It's a good movie. It's got great music. But Moonlight was probably, I mean, Moonlight deserved to win the Best Picture. It wasn't my personal number one, but it's a 1A and 1B situation. So any other thoughts?
To cap it off for me, as much as you'll hate me hearing this, I probably would bump out Rogue One and Moana and probably put in, well, one, I would put in Hell or High Water, and then maybe Kubo and the Two Strings? I think
Kubo,
that was 2017.
That's fair. I won't hate
or
you for that. Those are good movies taking the place. I mean, honestly, Moana's great, but I don't know. Not in this
It was
year,
great
not
in the
against
moment,
these heavy
but
hitters.
Yeah.
It's definitely
now 2015.
X-Men Apocalypse. Oh God, is
baby.
it bad?
X-Men Apocalypse? Was that an honorable mention for you? What are you saying?
No, I just was making a joke.
Oh, my bad.
Now, this one, I saw 46 movies this year, and I ranked all of them. I ranked 1 through 46 for this list, unless I saw some after. And then I rated all of them and gave them out of 10 stars. And I gave Chappie as number 46 of all the movies I saw with 2 out of 10 stars. Should be 0 out of 10. That movie is poop. I'm going to keep it at 2 because there are hardworking people that worked on that movie that deserve some love.
Okay. That's nice.
I got Mockingjay Part 2 at 39. Fair. And I like it more after watching it, but I'll go. I have The Force Awakens at number 1, Spotlight at 2, Room at 3. This was a good year. Creed at 4, Ex Machina at 5, The Martian at 6, Steve Jobs at 7, Mad Max Fury Road at 8, Avengers Age of Ultron at 9, The Revenant at number 10, and then some of the quick honorable mentions in order were The Revenant, The Hateful Eight, Inside Out, The First Kingsman, The Big Shorts at 16, Straight Outta Compton's at 18, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, The Peanuts movie, Sicario, I had a 23. Sicario should have been higher. Wow. Beasts of No Nation was great. That's too low. Beasts of No Nation's
really good, yeah. Peanuts movie, I still remember giving you the dirtiest look because I had that at 10 for sure.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. And you're about to kick it the heck off that list, aren't you?
No, I actually did revise my list, and I did stick it at 10. I'm like, my reaction is so good that there's no way I should move it off that spot. I have to.
Because you know you can't admit I was right, so you're digging your heels in.
No, I mean, it's true. Peanuts is fantastic, but that just for the reaction alone, it's amazing.
Oh, man, that reaction is good.
That's good times, man.
What's your list?
My number 1 is Mad Max Fury Road. Number 2 is Star Wars The Force Awakens. Number 3 is Room. Number 4 is Spotlight. Number 5 is Ex Machina. Number 6 is The Revenant. Number 7 is The Gift. Number 8 is The Martian. Number 9 is Straight Outta Compton. And 10 was the Peanuts movie. Do you want me to keep going? Because we did make top 20.
Oh, we did top 20? I didn't go through my whole 20 then. I only went through like 7 of them. Yeah, we can do that. Let me do mine real quick, though. So I went Revenant, Hateful Eight, Inside Out, Kingsman, Ant-Man, The Gift, Big Short, The Night Before, which I just rewatched over Christmas. It's still funny. Straight Outta Compton, Jurassic World, get out of here. And Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and then at 21, I put The Peanuts. And I bet you I put it there just to annoy you.
Oh, yeah. But you got it. Anyway, you got the reaction.
There are good movies. Trainwreck should be higher. Wow, Pitch Perfect 2 was good.
No, number 2015, like 2013 through 2015, those were some bomb years for sure.
Yeah. What's your other 10 through 20 real fast?
My number 11 is Hateful Eight. Number 12 is Inside Out. Number 13 is Ant-Man. Number 14 is Creed. Number 15 is Age of Ultron. Number 16 is Sicario. Number 17 is Kingsman. Number 18 is Steve Jobs. Number 19 is Dope. And number 20 is Beast of No Nation.
You are post-COVID Kyle is too harsh on the Kyle that was before 2020. Because
he was a cutie, though.
You forget how freaking into every Marvel movie you were. You look back on that and you hate it. And I look back and want to protect that sweet boy that screamed when Ant-Man went Giant Man in Civil War.
Yes.
I want to protect that man. You were the loudest in the theater when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to protect him.
No,
I can't believe how you treat past Kyle.
No, I will say, when looking back on these videos, I thought I was going to be cringing for a lot of them, but I actually came with like admiring ourselves for being who we were in that time. Like, I don't know. I was like melancholy.
And they are good movies though. Some of them are good.
Oh yeah, but like it was just funny looking back on the older videos and us being like, oh, number 8, this movie, banger of a movie. Number 7, this movie, banger of a movie. Like that's pretty much what the video. And I did appreciate that. Yeah. I was like, man, those were. Like, obviously, it's nice that we've, like, grown and such, but it was nice just remembering and being like, yeah, I understand why, like, I have Ant-Man at 13. I do remember those times, obviously, but we're revising these lists...
tell you... I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to tell you...
Yeah.
You're going to kick Force Awakens probably off, right?
Yeah, 11 to 20. I would put it in there. Yeah.
And I will tell you why it was in the top... Was it year 2?
Yep. I will remember, tell you why. Please tell the audience.
There was nothing like going to the theater on opening night for Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. It was exactly the way your dad had talked about going to Star Wars. The big difference is I think there are a lot of people who didn't like it right off the bat. One of our close friends didn't like Force Awakens immediately, but he also has to be the contrarian for everything. And if you're watching, you better comment. All right, pal. But I'm just making fun of him. But because he's awesome and I love him. But it was the experience that year. Like, I still think the movie holds up. I think it's good. I don't think it's as good, but it wasn't as bad as episode 1. And people were truly drinking the Kool-Aid on how good they thought that movie was. It was a technologically advanced movie, the most of its time. But I think people are forgetting how incredible the theater was to go to Force Awakens. Like, I remember I talked to my brother and he went opening night and there was like nobody there for some reason. He was like, yeah, we went to the first showing and there was like 15 people in the theater, but we were at a packed house. Kyle and I got there at 10. Yeah. We took the day off of school. We left our college classes and we stayed in line at like 10 in the morning. Like we were like the third people in line when we got there. And I remember pulling in and 2 people were about to beat us for that second spot. And I was like, go drive quicker. And it was so fun. We saw those same people every year as those movies came out. It was awesome. I will never not move it off the spot of this list because it deserves to be there for what it was at its time and its place and what it meant to the experience of the theater. It reminded you why movies are so incredible. So I'll keep that. I love my Spotlight pick at number 2. I would probably move it to number 1 in just terms of quality, take away everything I just said. But Spotlight's excellent. I mean, Ex Machina, we just rewatched. Mad Max Fury Road's a little low. That should be a bit higher. I probably would get Age of Ultron out of there, and I'd probably move up. I don't know, maybe the Revenant or Hateful Eight. Straight Outta Compton should be higher. Jurassic World should get off my list. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is very good. That should be a little higher. The Big Short's very good. I think this is a pretty solid list, though, to be honest. I think looking at all the movies that we did see that year, unless there's some big thing I'm missing, I think it's actually pretty solid.
No, this year was like a big reminder of like what the feeling was like for enjoying movies, especially for us at like a younger age all those years ago. Like I appreciate this year for that for sure. Like you talking about Star Wars is like absolutely spot on, but I still remember great experiences from like Mad Max all the way to like The Gift, which is now like probably a small underrated movie no one remembers, but
just you and I went to it. Remember none of our friends wanted to go.
Yeah, you did have to talk me into The Gift though. I do remember that.
I know.
I remember the trailer.
I always got to talk Kyle into stuff. He just for some reason just doesn't trust me, and then he always leaves and he's like, "That's a really good movie. I like that. I like that TV show. And then still just ignores me. It's ridiculous. Final thoughts. Let's move on to 14. Yeah.
I would still move some things around, but that year, come on, that was a great year. Absolutely.
Do I have my list?
I hope so.
Where did it go? I don't see it.
Well, I just found mine. Do you want me to go?
Yep, go ahead.
And this was also top 20. Do you want to do top 20 or just 10?
Yeah, you just talk about them.
All right, I'll just do all 20.
Go ahead.
Number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Honestly, I stand by that. Number 2 is The Theory of Everything. I might not stand by that one. Number 3 is Gone Girl.
No, you shouldn't.
Number 4 is How to Train Your Dragon 2. Number 5 is Birdman.
Hey, that movie's incredible.
What? The Dragon 2? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 5 is Birdman. Number 6 is Whiplash. Number 7th is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Number 18 is American Sniper. Number 9 is the Lego Movie. Number 10 is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Number 11 is 22 Jump Street. Number 12 is Foxcatcher. Number 13 is X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 14 is Big Hero 6. Number 15 is Snowpiercer. Number 16 is Godzilla.
Ooh.
Number 17 is Nightcrawler. Number 18 is Selma. Number 19 is The Imitation Game. And number 20 is The Fault in Our Stars. And it just was packed.
The Fault in Our Stars. Get that out of here.
That can be kicked out.
Oh, God.
That can be kicked out.
No, you put that on there. I guarantee you were dating someone at the time. I guarantee you were dating someone who you took to with, and you were like, Alex, it just brought us together closer. Oh my God, you're so cheesy.
Yeah, that could be right.
Although I got, did you have Days of Future Past on your list?
Yeah, I was at number 13. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Because I know you watched it recently and you gave it I remember it being a banger. I haven't watched it in a few years, but you gave it a score that wasn't banger-esque. So either Kyle truly post-COVID has fallen off and hates the old version of himself, or what?
No, I wouldn't say that. I still was watching it, and I did remember how I felt watching that movie, and I thought the premise was cool, and I thought the combination of the two casts worked really well for its time.
So
but
why
I also
didn't you like it as much?
I think just because I'm trying to think of what it was specifically. That was like 3 weeks ago now or something. I don't remember. I don't know. I guess like I still admire it the same amount, but I don't overall love it the same amount, if that makes sense. Like I think my love for it at that time was like bigger than like what I feel now, but not to where I'm like poo-pooing it entirely. It's not like an Ant-Man situation. Thing.
It's just a post and pre-Kyle. Just hating on your old self again. Ridiculous. My list. This is 20 through 1. Big Hero 6, Boyhood, Locke, Imitation Game, Selma, Fury, American Sniper, X-Men Days of Future Past, 22 Jump Street, Enemy, The Lego Movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Foxcatcher, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Snowpiercer, Nightcrawler, Gone Girl, Birdman, Whiplash, Guardians of the Galaxy, number 1. I think I have an excellent top 10. Holy cow. I nailed it this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't hear anything starking.
The only thing I would really mostly change stuff in the bottom half. I'd probably move Edge of Tomorrow in there. Maybe Still Alice gets a little bit more competitive. Locke, I probably would have moved up. Fury's really good. American Sniper's really good. 22 Jump Street I really liked at the time, but I probably would move it off the list entirely. Enemy should have probably overtaken Lego Movie. Enemy's incredible. I love though my like honestly, I mean Winter Soldier is arguably the best MCU movie they've ever made. So I love Snowpiercer. Nightcrawler was excellent. Gone Girl's excellent. Birdman and Whiplash. Oh my goodness. I nailed this list. I probably would put Whiplash over Guardians now. Probably would move Guardians a little bit lower in that top 5, but I nailed it. This is a banger of a year for me. Good job. Good job, Al.
No, I thought that was a great list for you too.
Oh my God. I had honorable mentions. Interstellar. Interstellar's not that great.
That's good.
And I stand by it. I stand by it. That's not what you said when we rewatched it. You said this movie's not that good. That's what you said to me.
I don't think that's quite what I said, but okay.
Anyway,
what else was your honorable mention?
You want me to go? Still Alice, Grand Budapest Hotel, Theory of Everything were a couple others.
Grand Budapest Hotel might not have been a bad one to sneak into. You know what? Grand Budapest Hotel in Fault in Our Stars out. There we go.
Fault in Our Stars. Get out of town with that. Are you kidding me?
It's You're good, ridiculous. But it's not top. It's not even.
It is
top
a good
20
movie,
worthy,
but
not
it was only as
movie.
popular as it was. And hey, we're big fan of the Green Boys. Okay, big fan. Yeah, I think he did. It's a good movie adaptation. I have not read the book because I don't know how to read, but I do. Don't be fooled by the books back here. But I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a top movie of the year. I guess number 20 is not bad. So I just am making jokes. But anyway, other thoughts? Selma should have been higher. I should have put Selma quite a bit higher. Selma's really good.
Selma is really good. I wish I guess I could still change the list, obviously, but movies like Locke and Nightcrawler, I probably would move very high up into like my top 10, and then maybe shift around my top 5 just so that way Planet of the Apes and Whiplash could be in there, because I adore those movies more than like Theory of Everything and How to Train Your Dragon 2, although that movie is very good.
That whole trilogy is incredible.
Yeah, that's a very good trilogy. But yeah, and outside of that, there's just so many movies that I can make arguments for putting up higher or lower, like Foxcatcher, Snowpiercer, Selma. But
yeah,
it's similar to 2015, man. Like, it's so deep. It's so deep.
If you're still watching, Kyle and I were so obsessed with the trailer for Nightcrawler because he shakes the mirror and the overlay talk as he goes, "You got to make the money to buy a ticket," and we were obsessed with that line, and it's only in the movie once, and he doesn't even say it aggressively, and we were so mad. But that movie is so good. Anyway, let's get to the last list. We're going way over time here, so let's get to the last. He absolutely should have been nominated. Let's get to the last list, 2013.
It's also top 20. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, we can do it real quick.
All right. I can go if you like. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm looking at it.
Talk about of the times, man. This list is going to be hilarious. Number 1 is Man of Steel. Number 2 is Thor: The Dark World. Right?
Right? Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder you're such a cynic now. You're like making up for lost time. Like,
no, maybe a little.
Wow.
Not only have my
taste blown away by my list.
My tastes have changed so much, and it shows hard. Like, this was one of the first years where I was like actively into movies, and even still, it's like Thor: Dark World, absolute banger, has to be at number 2. Meanwhile, all these. I
remember we went with a bunch of our friends, and we had fun in the moment, but no.
Yeah,
continue.
That was part of it too, for sure. Number 3 is Lone Survivor. Number 4 is Anchorman 2.
Lone Survivor is good. I don't know if Lone Survivor. Lone Survivor is good.
It's
Lone
not
Survivor
top 5,
is still good though.
True.
No need.
Number 5 is Prisoners. You still think about that Lone Survivor one?
that's a bit of a travesty, but
yeah, no,
it is what it is.
I'll say it now. Prisoners would probably be like number 1 or top 3 at the very least, but Prisoners would be that high up. Number 6 is Saving Mr. Banks. Number 7 is The Butler. Number 8,
The Butler is good.
Yeah. Top 10? I don't know, but
it's my number 1, so
is it really?
I was obsessed with that movie in high school. I was obsessed.
Wow.
I was obsessed with it. I loved the trailers I used to re-listen to all the time. I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie. It's not a movie I don't know. I'd have to really look at my list and see if I would put it in that top spot. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I think it's very underrated for the time.
That's the best way to phrase it. Yeah. Number 8 is American Hustle. I'll go faster now. Number 9 is Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Number 10 is Frozen. Number 11 is 12 Years a Slave. Number 12 is The Hobbit. I think that's the second one. I'm trying to read it correctly here.
Oh, God.
Number 13 is... I know, man.
What's
I know.
wrong with you?
Number 13 is Despicable Me 2. Number
The
14
heck
is
is
Star
wrong
Trek
with you?
Into Darkness. Come on, this was my first one.
God, you were an idiot. I get made fun of by our friends all the time for my points on movies in 2012 and 2013, and I'm looking at my list and I'm like, what are you all seeing that I'm not? Because my list, okay, I do have The Hobbit way too high. I have it number 7. I spoke too soon. I was an idiot too.
Come on. Ah! Remember the good old days. Remember the good old days. We really just did not care. If that makes sense. Like, obviously we care about a list, but like our tastes were just like so much of like a little bit of everything that we didn't care if we had like Hobbit 2 that high or something like that. So
it
number
was
15,
the best of the Hobbit movies.
Give us that.
Great barrel scene. Great barrel scene.
Barrel scene. What a blast.
Kyle doesn't even remember the barrel scene.
Number 15 is Gravity. Number 16 is Captain Phillips. Number 17 is We're the Millers, which, God, I think that movie is pretty funny.
It's such a Kyle move. Yeah. Toss a good comedy way high up there.
Number 18 is Her. Number 19 is The Way, Way Back. And number 20 is Now You See Me.
God, your list does suck. I think mine is better. I had Lee Daniels, The Butler 1. It's probably not justified really today when you look at everything else that came out that year, but no. It is a very good movie. I think having it in the top 10 in the bottom half is totally fine. That's where I probably would move it to, especially I had Prisoners number 2. Prisoners is one of my favorite movies of all time. That should have been my number 1 that year, but I really was obsessed with Lee Daniels, The Butler. But I had Lone Survivor 3. Lone Survivor is very good. It's a very underrated movie. American Hustle was very good. I like that movie. I have it at 4. Then I have Saving Mr. Banks at 5. I think that Saving Mr. Banks is awesome. It's an awesome movie. It belongs there.
I just don't remember it well anymore.
I have Captain Phillips at 6. That movie's great. I have The Hobbit at 7. Get the out of here. Yeah. Or is The Desolation of Smog? No, that's the third one. So I have the worst of the 3.
No. That has to be the second one.
Yeah, you're right. It's Battle of the Five Armies is the third one. That is the second one. So that one, I have Rush at 8. Rush is underrated. I'm glad I have that in there. Give it some love. Rush is underrated. That's a good Hemsworth movie.
I saw that a year ago. I probably would put it in like I would put it somewhere on this list.
We watched it together, you fool, in our dorm room because I own it. Yes, we did. You just hate remembering things.
Man, I really don't remember.
I've been very loud. I apologize. We did. No, I do remember watching it because you would go through my movie thing and you would be like, let's watch this. We did that at first when we first were living in the dorm together. And then we switched to doing the Netflix, get the DVD. Remember when they still did that?
Oh man, that's right. I just don't remember Rush.
We would order one DVD.
Well, I watched it, I guess, and it's good. Yeah.
I have 12 Years a Slave at 9. I had one big complaint with the movie that I didn't love how they showed the passage of time. It didn't feel like thing. I really very clearly remember that was my big point, that I loved everything about it, but I just felt like I didn't feel like 12 years had gone by. I felt like a week had gone by, but I still think that's way too low because the movie's incredible. So I would move that up for sure. I had Wolf of Wall Street at 10. I would move that up. I had Thor the Dark World at 11 for some dumb reason, but it's better. It's better than Kyle. What wasn't? 12 Years a Slave?
No, Wolf of Wall Street. Maybe I saw that after that year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. God dang it.
Wolf of Wall Street. I had World War Z. Then I had 42, the Jackie Robinson story. That's a fun little underrated movie. I had Gravity at 14. That probably should be higher up. I had Catching Fire at 15. Iron Man 3 at 16. Man of Steel at 17. This Is the End at 18. The Great Gatsby at 19. And Place Beyond the Pines at 20. I was also obsessed with Place Beyond the Pines. That should have been a top 10. That movie's awesome. It's so underrated. Speaking of good Gosling movies, like really underrated Gosling movies, it's that. This is a weird list, but I kind of think it's fun in a way. And mine is much better than yours.
I will say that. It's better than yours, for sure. But again, it's like that was
I don't even know
for us, like starting out to just like love and obsess over movies like that. Like it just shows how much like we have morphed and changed like how we see movies or just talk about them and think about them.
I'm looking at other movies that came out this year. I had some honorable mentions apparently. Like Out of the Furnace is a very good underrated Christian Bale movie. Dallas Buyers Club I didn't have in my top 20. That belongs there. I didn't have Her there. That belongs there. The Way Back is a movie I forgot about with Steve Carell. You're the one who told me to watch that movie. That is a good movie. I had Fruitville Station as an honorable mention. That should have been a contender. What?
Sorry, which one?
Fruitville Station came out that year, and it was an honorable mention. Fruitville Station should have been
top 5 for me now.
A contender. That should have been that movie's amazing. Yeah. But what's your thing?
Way Back. I'm proud that you like that one because that landed on my list high up, but
that's a good movie.
That one's a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Short Term
like
12
Guns. I remember liking that a lot.
Ooh, Short Term 12 came out that year.
I saw that. I remember really late. I didn't even put it on the list. Oh,
same with me, but I would have been.
Should have been there.
That would be on a list now, I would say. If I made this list now, it would be like top 10, 15.
It would be there. I would agree. All right. We got to wrap this up.
Let's just say a lot of these would get bumped out.
Yeah, but this was fun. I liked going through all these lists. Ooh. Sorry. I also got college football on.
Oh, okay.
Watching the hometown Montana Grizzlies, baby.
Oh, nice.
I've moved away from Montana, and I just support Montana now. So I just want to see if they can pull it out, win the championship. But anyway, guys, what do you think of our list? Comment below, let us know. I'm gonna like, subscribe, and share. Help us get to the free hoodie. But what did you think of these lists? We'd love to know your thoughts. I know this is a long video, but I hope you guys watch it all the way through and really enjoy hearing our list. They were dumb, man. We've learned a lot. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Do all that great stuff. Thank you, my patrons, and as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.